Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Loretta McNary Show. What if the gap between the life you are living and the life you truly want is not about time or degrees or experience, but a simple decision? So, today we're talking about intentional living. We're talking about leadership and how to turn ideas into experiences that actually shape your life. But it has to start somewhere. And our guest today, she's been on the show before. She is going to tell you how to start and when to start. Everybody, welcome my friend and founder of Bucket List Day, Cindy Lee. Hi
Hello,
there.
hello, aloha.
Yes, I love that. Aloha. Aloha. Thank you. You always come with so much energy and insight and fun and expertise. So tell us what you were doing before Bucket List found you.
Well, a year before I started my travel agency, and then 2017, I like to visit a lot of museums. And when I got out of the surf museum, it was up in Santa Cruz. I always like to greet people, compliment what they're wearing. And I seen this young man, and I just said, "How you doing? Hope you're having a great day." He goes, "I'm having a fantastic day." He goes, "Did you know that I have a bucket list?" And he actually had a list. The bottom of it was torn a little bit, and it said Belize. And that was the one thing I remember, is that he really wanted to go to Belize. So basically, a year after that is when I started my company. And no matter what we're doing for a living, it's important to know your why. So on those days, because sometimes we have, those days, I think about my why, and I look at that photo. I look at that video that I made, back in 2017. And also, I'm a big follower of Anthony Bourdain. I was a chef for over 25 years, and he was such an inspiration. And sadly, he passed away in 2018, and that is the same year that I started my agency. So it's a full circle situation. Yes, and then I started in 2015. I started sharing national holidays, and then that's the story of being an ambassador with National Day Calendar. And of course, in 2023, I became a founder of National Bucket List Day. But originally, I wanted to do National Networking Day, and the staff over at National Day said no. We have National Bucket List Day that's open. I said, let's do it. So
Oh,
that's
I love it. Okay, so let's kind of slow down. You did the full circle explanation or share. But before all of that, how did you know that there was even a possibility of having your own national day? Can we start there? Because when I first, and then talk about, no, let's talk about how we met first, right? And then we'll talk about how you even knew there was such a search, there was such a possibility of having a national day that you created yourself.
Well, we met because I'd seen that interview with the executive of LA Bank. And I was like, wow, that was a really great interview. I need to reach out to this young lady, get to know her, get her on my podcast. I could, we can do great things together, build a solid relationship. So with aside from Bucket List Day, when you're online on Facebook, take the time to get off the computer. For instance, every year for the last 5 years, for National Bucket List Day, I either do a get together or I'll go by myself. This year, I'm going to go by myself. I'm going to do some content because I'm going to be featured on KTLA LA here in a couple weeks. So I'm doing all this content on all this local stuff. So a lot of people will say, "Well, I don't have $3,000-4,000 to take a vacation." You can look in your backyard. So Loretta, you have a great city you live in. There's so many things in your backyard that you could do for under $200. And here in Southern California, Huntington Beach. We have so many. We have LA an hour. At Disneyland is 10 minutes. So there's so many things that we can do. Because at the end of the day, we don't know that last day. Tomorrow's not promised. I mean, take the time to call people. Call at least 5 people a day and let them know that you love them. And I recently
See,
lost a friend.
you're so deep, Cindy. You think about people all the time, and she is such a gift giver. I mean, she'll think about you, and next thing you know, you got something in the mail. You got a whole lot of somethings in the mail. But how did you even know that you could have your own national bucket list day or any day that is approved? And just tell us about that process.
Well, I use National Day Calendar as a way to leverage what I'm doing. as a way to pay it forward to another person. When it's somebody's birthday, I look on National Day calendar and see if I can send them something through Grubhub, or, I have a company where I make cards and gifts. I could use my company. But a lot of times if I'm running late, I'm like, oh, wow, today is National Taco Day. I'm going to send Loretta something. Yeah. So I'll go to the Grubhub app. I will change my location to Loretta's location, and I'll send her some tacos straight from the Grubhub app. So just the little things like that is really what means the most, because we have a busy life. We have the hustle and bustle. And if you do not take the time to put others first, you're not going to live the abundant, joyful life that you deserve.
Oh wow, well said, well said. And so her seeing my show, we had never met, she never heard of me, I hadn't heard of her. This was probably 3 or 4 years ago. There was I guess they were from California. We were doing like a tourism kind of thing, and they talked about National Bucket List Day. And so Cindy reaches out, she says, "Hey, I'm the founder of National Bucket List Day." I'm like, "Yeah, right, lady." And so my team and I we're like, okay. So, and then she sent me another email, no, another message, and she was just so kind. So, just complimentary of the show and how she got it. And we eventually talked. And once we talked, and I found out she was the real deal, that she had created National Bucket List Day, and one of the kindest, sweetest people that you will ever meet. And so she also, and then she introduced me to, because she's such a connector. She is a natural born connector. She'll see you, she'll get a feel of who you are, what you're doing, what you bring to the world. And then she'll say, "You got to meet this person." Or I want to, and you don't have to cold call with her. She's going to send you an email introducing both of the people together, or a text. And that's how it's done. Let's take lessons. Let's take notes from her. And so then the next thing you did, we did the show, and then next thing I know, I'm an ambassador for National Day Calendar. Tell them what that means, Cindy.
So the ambassador really means a lot. So what you do is you look through the calendar. You could actually go to the calendar. You could sign up for their newsletter, and you'll get a notification of 24 hours prior on what the national holiday is. So being an ambassador, you have to share, I believe it's 2 or 3 times a week, and just be someone positive. You have to be someone who has a lot of social media influence. You have to have, the Facebook, the TikTok. You don't have to have TikTok, but the main, like Facebook and Instagram. And then they'll do a complimentary article on the website. So it's pretty powerful to be an ambassador. It'll get you in front of media. You can collaborate with different restaurants and retailers. So it's a really great way to not just talk about you being an ambassador, but connect and pay it forward to other people, like I talked about earlier, based on a national holiday.
And then it just grows from there. And I know we need to do better on my side, because I know the national days. Because if you just look at Cindy's page, she's going to tell you 3 to 4 things that we're celebrating or that is recognized easily on all her social media. She is all in everything that she does. So thank you for that. So let's talk about, you have events coming up. Let's talk about what you did last year to celebrate. And then we'll talk about what you're doing this year.
Well, last year we did Las Vegas. So we did some really amazing things in Las Vegas. We went to a tiki bar because, I'm the whole Aloha Spirit thing. And so we found a tiki bar downtown. We stayed at some amazing places downtown. And then we did some different eateries and whatnot. And after, a few of us actually stayed at Virgin Hotel. So, and that's closer to the airport. So many different things that we did. And there's some great comedy in Las Vegas, and great museums. So there's really a lot going on with Las Vegas right now, just to experience that Las Vegas bucket list. And of course, that
So
pool.
what are your A lot, and I have wanted to be there. I had planned to be there, and then life happens. But what about, and when is the actual date this year? Because the date changes, or the date, what changes every month, but not the month, but a day. Is it
So
the
the
same
date,
date?
is the same. It's April 24th. I just put up my schedule for this year. And
Okay.
this year we have the CEO of National Day Calendar visiting us. So we're actually starting with Fountain Valley. So I'm a member of the Fountain Valley Chamber. So I thought it'd be a great way to support 2 restaurants. And so we have the two restaurants there on the screen. And then April 22nd is National Earth Day. So we're going to do another dolphin excursion. We're going to do some paddleboarding at the Newport Aquatic. And of course, the 23rd, I have my spot on KTLA at 11 o'clock. And then we're going to Disneyland. And there's also a tiki bar at Disneyland, right outside of the Disneyland Hotel. And of course, the 24th is National Bucket List Day. It's also National Brunch Month. So I'm going to be paying it forward to Board Riders Cafe right here in beautiful Huntington Beach. And then also there's a pop-up at the Surf City Artisan Fair where we're going to feature an amazing empanada restaurant. And one of my colleagues actually has a booth for National Bucket List Day as well. And then we're going to end the evening at the Offshore 9. It's a beautiful rooftop bar where you can see the sun go down right there off Huntington Beach. And then we're going to end the day at Hurricanes Bar. So a really great way to support all these local businesses.
Oh, wow. And she does this every year. So what year anniversary are you celebrating this year for National Bucket List Day?
Well, technically, I received the proclamation in 22, but 23 is when we started doing the yearly trip. So the first trip was a 7-day cruise from Long Beach, and then Cancun. Last year was Las Vegas. Next year is Chicago, and then the following year is Jamaica.
Wow. Okay. So, what do you want people to really understand about, or how important having a, you can call it bucket list or whatever you want to call it, but there needs to be not only clarity about what you want, and then there needs to be plan and action of making things happen and not just waiting on things to happen, which is what I found. I find that a lot of people wait on the perfect conditions. So, with having shared your story of, the gentleman who wanted to go to Belize and then, not being able to go because of death, what message do you have for people to say make the list and then just go make it happen?
You want to make your list. You want to have 3 or 4 friends who are your accountability partners so you can both all achieve those goals. And the bucket list is not just travel. Say you want to become a podcaster, you want to write a book, you maybe you're afraid of the ocean, but you always thought that surfing was pretty exciting, which it is. I'm not an avid swimmer, and I've surfed 3 times. It's absolutely amazing. And your bucket list is also your goal sheet. So you can work on your bucket list every day of the week, every day of the year, and have goals like every 6 months, every year. Have a bucket list for your birthday, a bucket list of things that you're afraid of. And when was the last time that you did something for the very first time? And you want to live that dash. We have the day we're born, the day we pass away, that in between time, that is your dash. Go out and live it, because that's that saying that everybody says, oh, someday I'm going to do this, someday I'm going to do that. We don't know about the someday. We could walk out of the door and not make it back. So just live every day in gratitude and find ways to achieve those bucket lists. Because if you want to do travel bucket lists, like I said earlier, you could do everything in your neighborhood. Hidden gems, excursions. Yeah, you can still experience things and get off Facebook and social media and create experiences together. Complete strangers are going to turn into friends.
So you will literally walk up to anybody. There's not a person that if you met and you didn't feel something, say, go meet them, go say something to them, go get their business card, go exchange a card, or even for you, Cindy, you'll take it even further and say, let me send them something. So were you always this way, or did you always know the value and how critical it is for a personal touch, a social touch, and not just a social media touch? Were you always that person?
When I was 16 years old, and I just found this out 5 years ago, I didn't realize it was my 16-year-old birthday when Princess Diana got married. And I sent her a card. I got a letter back with the Buckingham Palace crest on it. My mom recently passed away about a month or so ago, and she always expressed giving a gift. But she would go to Home Shopping Network and buy $600-700 worth of gifts. And then, oh, it's time for me to pay it forward to Loretta. I think I'll give her this gift. So things like that. And that's where I learned my gift giving and just being kind to people. We need more kindness in the world.
We need so much kindness in the world that there's actually a National Kindness Day, and we shouldn't have to have that kind of day, but a lot of people do need to be reminded of that. So, on Bucket List Day, how do you recommend that we celebrate for those who can't come to where you are celebrating this year? How can we celebrate in our neighborhood, in our family? And I know you said your city has treasures, go find those, go enjoy those, but what's a simple thing that people can actually do on actual bucket list day, which is April 24th this year? What can we do to celebrate?
I'd say if you're a foodie, reach out to your local restaurant and tell them about National Bucket List Day. Because a lot of restaurants don't realize they're thinking it's travel, but National Bucket List Day is a way to celebrate food. Because food is all about
Hmm.
celebration, right? You're going to enjoy a nice cocktail, a pizza. It's National Brunch Month. I mean, you could tie that together. So there's so
Yeah.
many things to do. And you can go to nationalbucketlistday.com and you could get some ideas on there as well.
What about what's today? The date on the calendar. So what are national days to celebrate today? Because I know you probably have the calendar right there and all of that good stuff. What should we be if you don't know what to celebrate, if you don't want to celebrate yourself, your own accomplishments or someone you know, Cindy has a list and she's gonna tell us what it give us a couple of those things that we can celebrate today. Because celebration breeds more celebration.
Definitely Empanada Day today and Zoo Lovers Day. I'm going to be heading out to the Santa Ana Zoo here in a couple hours. So definitely look at nationaldaycalendar.com. You can order a calendar, and it's important to celebrate every day. And how do you celebrate every day?
I'm getting better. Of course, I was always telling my son just recently that I love dancing, and yet I never dance. I never turn the music on. I have all this space. I
Wow.
could dance every day in my own home, and I don't. But yesterday, I turned my music up. My son installed this sound bar behind me, and it goes upstairs. It goes through the whole house, right? It could go outside if you wanted to. And I turned it on. I turned it on loud and I danced and I
There you
danced
go.
and I
Dance like no
danced.
one's watching, girl.
And yeah, thank God nobody was watching. And I'm going to do it today after this segment, Cindy. So, what do you want the takeaway for people today after hearing our conversation, how we met, how we stay connected, your ability to connect people across literally across the world just with a phone call or a text is really that easy. And so, what do you want the takeaway today? Not just saying they watched us and they love our energy, da 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 da. What would you want the takeaway to be today?
I would say make it a daily practice to call or text at least 1 to 5 people a day. And another thing you can do when you're out in the community, for instance, when I go to Costco, I tell myself I'm going to compliment at least 20 people today, whether they say anything back or not. But you do not know what someone is dealing with. And sending someone a simple compliment or doing that phone call of gratitude really is powerful. And there's so many different things you can do for your bucket list. So start creating your accountability group and start marking off that list and living that dash.
I love how you said bucket list day is about more than just planning a travel getaway. It is about going to restaurants. It's about going to a business. It's about going in your backyard and looking for a four-leaf clover. It can be about a lot of things that gets you out of the negativity in this brain because it is so conditioned for that, trying to protect you. And then just step out of your comfort zone. It's no such thing as a comfort zone, but make things happen in your life that you haven't made happen before. So, Cindy, I want to thank you not only for being my guest, my friend, an advocate for the Loretta McNary Show, but for all the good that you bring into this world. All the good that you bring into this world every day, every moment, even when you were going through with taking care of your mom who had dementia and then her being called on, you continue to serve, to lead, and to take care of others. So, thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. And one thing I want to say, if you do have a friend or loved one who passed away, carry on their legacy. And
Some
our
kind of
loved
way.
ones wouldn't want us to be sad or depressed. And for me, it was very tough. But I know that my mom wanted me to carry on the legacy of kindness. So now I'm kindness 2.0. That's super important.
You 10X in it, Cindy. You are 10X at everything. So thank you for being my guest. And I want to say thank you to my audience for always tuning in, no matter where you are across this world. You tune in and you support. And I always pray that the show not only entertains you, informs you, but that it touches a spot in your heart that says, you know what? I feel better for having watched the Loretta McNary show. Think positive, dream big old dreams, help someone along the way, and live like you believe, beloved. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.